What's up, folks? Dan here from BGameCharacter.com. Welcome back to Q&A Tuesday, the best day of the week where I answer your questions that you ask me either on the YouTube channel or on Facebook Live. Hello, Facebook peeps. Let's jump right in. The question for you for last week was, what was your favorite color? My favorite color is red, just so you know. Used to be blue, actually. When I was growing up, my favorite color was blue, and then at some point it became red. I don't know why. Why do we have favorite colors? It's a weird thing. I don't know. Moving into the first question from Monster Gaming. Answering your question, my favorite color is blue. There's a blue guy. For no reason whatsoever. I know, why do we have favorite colors? I just like it. My question is, are you planning on doing Black Panther from Marvel? I love Black Panther. Black Panther's an awesome hero. He's very cool. I loved that he was in Civil War. I can't wait for his movie. I am super stoked for that. So, I would say the chances are very good. I try to do mostly video game characters in the blog. We've been branching out a bit more lately. A lot of people request anime and comic book characters as well, and we've done some of those. We're going to be doing some more in the future. So I can't promise it'll necessarily be soon, but considering the Black Panther is one of my favorite heroes, I would say there's a very good chance that we're going to do Black Panther. So excellent question. Thank you, Monster Gaming. I think that's the first time you've asked a question as well, so thanks for joining us here on the channel, and I hope you get to ask more in the future. Up next is Your Name, who says favorite color is red. There's another red guy. A gal, I don't know. Your name, are you a boy or a girl? I feel like Professor Oak. Or something else. I don't know, whatever. Not to be exclusionary or anything. Hey, Dan, so my question for you is to do with running. This requires a long backstory to give my personal situation. As of right now, I'm training for a half marathon. I already know that I can run it because I ran 14 miles yesterday. That's incredible. Well done. But the goal for me is to complete an Ironman. I plan to do this by doing a half marathon, a Tough Mudder, a marathon, a triathlon, then train for the Ironman and compete in it when I'm 20. I'm 17 as of now. The question is that somewhere in between, I want to do an ultra bulk and try to gain as much weight and muscle as possible. Right now, it's a steady, lean bulk. Chances are I do one long run per week, but I'm afraid when I'm done with the bulk, I won't be able to start again. So between which event should I do this bulk? Thanks, Dan. I know it's a long way to get to such a simple question. I appreciate the help. Have an awesome week. So, all right, you might not like my advice, but my advice is don't do the bulk. All right, don't do an ultra bulk. Like bulking is in like eating a whole bunch of food and not being worried about gaining some body fat and stuff like that while you're doing it. There's a couple of things. First off, it's very weightlifting centric. If you're not lifting weights, you're not going to put on muscle. You're just going to get fat. So you have to lift a lot of weights. It doesn't lend itself well to any of the events that you're competing in. Bulking up, gaining lean muscle as you're performing and training for these events, that's going to happen. But every pound of weight that you put on is an extra pound that you have to carry while you're doing these events. And these are all long distance events. And you want as little excess weight as you can carry. So my advice would be pick what you want to do. I would say either be, triathlete competitor or be somewhat bulkier power lifter, weightlifter. I am going to say it sounds like your natural proclivity is towards long distance stuff, which is awesome because it's something that I am currently not very good at. So I would say don't do the bulk. Compete all the things that you want to compete in first. Do that triathlon, do the Ironman. And then after that, it's only 3 years. Your timetable is only 3 years. So you have a lot of life left after those 3 years that you can still bulk if you want to. It sounds like you're already well on the path to that to the first goal. So I would say definitely stick your path for now because it sounds like it's a really good path for you. It sounds like it's really working. And then after you've competed in, your Ironman, then go ahead and maybe try something different. But 3 years is, I realize at 17, and I remember when I was 17, but I realized at 17 it seems like it's not, it seems like it's not a short amount of time, but really between 17 and 20, that's a really super short amount of time. And I would say for now, stick where you're at. It sounds like you're in a good place. Stay in that good place. See it through. You've got great goals and a great progression for them. After that, then start eating big, lifting heavy, try something new. But I'd say stick where you're at for now. So I hope you have an awesome week as well. Thanks for wishing me one. And we're going to move on to the next question. Thanks again, your name, for asking a question. Next up, we have John Smith, who says, "Red, the same color of my enemies after battle." To which I replied, "That's fantastic! Now you have to ask me a question for next week." And John Smith said, "Okay, Fallout 4, good or bad in your opinion?" Fallout 4, good. Better than Fallout 3. I'm going to get some hate for it, but I liked it better than Fallout 3. I don't have any real measurable reason for why it's better than Fallout 3. I just think it was better. I enjoyed it more. So I would say Fallout 4 better than Fallout 3. However, Fallout 1 and 2 still beat Fallout 3 and 4 no matter what. I mean, let's be honest. There's nothing that's going to beat Fallout 1 and 2 in the Fallout universe. You're never going to top that, Bethesda. I'm sorry. You can try, but you're not going to get there. Especially if you're continuing to go less depth on story and quest lines. You know, wide as the ocean, shallow as a puddle. It's not really working. You got to go for the depth. All right, and that's part of the reason why I think I like Fallout 4. It was a little bit better with that, a little more involved quest lines and stuff like that. So, yeah, I would say Fallout 4 better than Fallout 3. Both of them pale in comparison to 1 or 2, though. Thank you for asking a question, John Smith, who is apparently also Mike Ohm and John Kimmel. You got some identity crisis going on there, man. I don't know. Next up, we have Mr. Red White, who says, "Oh, ho, ho! Hey, man, I hope you are doing fine." I am. I hope you're doing fine as well. "But I have a question from one of your older videos. Would you consider Chris Redfield from Resident Evil 5 physique to be unreachable without steroids? I mean, in some angles, his arms are as big as his head. Because I don't want to just get close to it. I want to look like the real thing." All right. It's going to depend on a lot of things. It's going to depend on genetics. It's going to depend on your skeletal structure and your muscular structure. On the whole, I would say it would be difficult, but not impossible. You can get pretty big. I mean, without steroids, obviously, but it's going to come down to you. What I would say is just do your damn best, see how far you get, see how close you get to it, and then see where you end up after that. And then, I mean, if you've been training for like 3 years and you're still not as big as you want to be, then, you know, those are all options. I'm not going to advocate steroid usage. I know I spoke of it rather ambivalently in the last video. I'm not going to advocate it. I'm not going to diss it. But I'm going to say that you can definitely get pretty damn big without steroids. Chris Redfield big, I'm not sure because we don't actually have measurements. We just got an in-game model to compare it. But I would say, yeah, you can get pretty close. So train your butt off for a couple years, and if you find you're still not as big as you want to be, then maybe consider other options. But from where I'm standing right now, definitely possible to get pretty damn close with or without gear. Let's see. So thank you, Mr. Red White, for asking a question. Next up, we have BenRex777. What's up, Benny? Benny says, "Hello, Dan. I don't know why you want to know this, so I go a little more into the details." Fantastic. I like it. "I often wear clothes in unobtrusive colors like brown, olive green, buff." I don't know what color buff is. "Dark blue or white, but to mix it up in a hint of flashy color like green, yellow, red is great. My bedroom is mostly in white, gray, and a mixture of blue or green. Generally, I like all the colors if they fit the whole picture. I wouldn't want your headband like green. There. Red, white, or black is the way to go." All right, so it's a good thing I went with black headbands then. "At the moment, I have my summer vacation of my studies. Because of that, I am working part-time. There I can connect the cable on high-voltage switches." Ooh, cool. "If my arms are above my heart while working, it is more tiring. Do you know why that is?" Absolutely. Because, all right, so arms down here at heart level, easy for the blood to pump to them. Arms up here, your heart is working to get the blood up there, and it's working and slowly failing. If you keep your arms up in the air like for a long period of time, gradually your hands will start to tingle and fall asleep and stuff like that because, I mean, you get tired because your heart's having a hard time pumping blood up there. And if your heart's having a hard time pumping blood up there, you're getting less nutrients. On top of that, you are exerting muscles just to keep your hands up there. Your natural resting state is arms down here. So to lift your arms up, you're actually using your muscles to do that, and that's why your muscles get tired. Since you mentioned the derby workout is mostly for looks and not for strength, is the Derby. The Derby workout is mostly for looks and not for strength. Is there a workout which is only for strength and no visible muscle? No. There's no way you're going to ever get significantly strong without also developing muscle. Not necessarily getting big, but your muscles will get a little bigger and they'll get more, a little more defined usually, unless you're significantly overweight. And so, yeah, no, there is no muscle. There is no workout just for strength where you don't gain muscle. There are plenty of workouts where you don't get big, but you still get significant strength. Generally speaking, high weight, low repetitions, you're going to get pretty strong. You will always hit a ceiling of strength that you can surpass by getting a little bigger. Leverage works like that, which is why strongman competitors, if you ever watch like World's Strongest Man and stuff like that, that's why they're all so freaking huge. Some of them even look fat and it also heavyweight class powerlifters and stuff like that. Some of them might look fat because you hit a point where you've gotten as strong as you can at your weight. But if you add an extra 50 pounds on, even if some of it's fat, you're going to be able to push and pull and lift more weight than you did before. However, you're obviously going to be less good at what I call body management strength, which is like the strength to do pull-ups and chin-ups and acrobatic feats, Ninja Warrior type stuff, because you're going to be and Brian Shaw. Yes, John Kimmel just commented in on Facebook Live. Brian Shaw, big dude. If you saw him walking down the street, you wouldn't know that he's like one of the strongest people on the planet. You'd probably guess he's pretty strong, but you'd look at him and go, that looks crazy. That dude's crazy out of shape. You wouldn't know that he can throw a couple 1,000 pounds on his shoulder and go for a sprint for 20 feet. All right, so yeah, that's the thing, is that you hit a ceiling where you can only get so strong, and then you have to get a little bigger to get stronger. But that's where weight classes come in for like powerlifting too. Like you have some people that compete. Look up powerlifting competition videos. They're all over YouTube. For like the lower weight classes, there are people that are pound for pound incredibly strong. Like they're deadlifting 3 or 4 times their body weight and stuff like that. Like these are people that they're like 150 pounds and they're just stupid strong. Like they are super strong. Me personally, for my Going Superhuman project right now, I want to cut down in weight. I'm trying to get down to 180 pounds. I want to get down to a realm where I can very easily cut a few pounds off for a judo competition, because I'm trying to get my black belt in judo right now. Want to get to a point where I can very easily cut a couple pounds off for judo tournaments and hit the below 60 kilogram weight class, or 66, whatever it is. Whatever the metric equivalent for 179 pounds is, I forget. But so I want to get down to around 180 pounds, but I still want to continue to get strong. I mean, you've seen some of my weightlifting goals if you looked at the Going Superhuman project. So anyway, I don't know if I'm going way too far in the question right there, but I hope that answers your question. You can get strong without getting significantly big, but you will get stronger if you're willing to get big. So that's the answer to the question. Benny says, I'm looking forward to Going Superhuman. Fantastic. I'm looking forward to it as well. Now the question for you. I know I already asked a question, but there was more of a comment on your previous video. If everybody on this planet changed to have your strengths and weaknesses, what kind of problems would disappear and what kind of problems would go big? Oh, this is a very introspective question. I'm glad you asked it. That's fantastic. Problems that, and this is all things that I'm assuming. I mean, I have a rather high opinion of myself. I'm not going to say I don't. But if everybody on this planet changed to have your strengths and weaknesses, what kind of problems would disappear? I would think that the first problems that would disappear would be a lot of the selfishness that exists in the world. Like I am obviously a very confident person, but I'd like to think I'm not a selfish person. I think a lot of people in this world are very selfish, and I think it's part of the problem is that we don't go out into the world every day thinking, how can I help somebody else out? We go out into the world every day thinking, how can I help myself? How can I make my path the least painful? How can I have, how can I assist other people versus, I mean, and I don't want to say that I put other people first, but I like to think that when I see people, I think the best that I can of how I can help them. So I would say that there'd be a little more selflessness and a little less selfishness in the world. I feel like Problems with obesity would fly right the heck out the window because I love myself some food, but I can say I've never actually been obese in my life. I've been overweight, and that was after I, had my son and I let myself go. But I would say that, one of the things that I wish I could do is just implant my own mindset toward health and fitness into other people's minds. And I've said this over and over and over again. My wife commented, "Hi, hubby." Hello. So I would say that is one thing, is that I feel like overall the world will become a healthier place. Not that I'm super healthy. I'm not like amazingly healthy, but I am definitely healthier than a lot of people in the world. And I feel like that itself would be a huge shift in the world. There would be a giant shift. If everybody suddenly thought like me and was like me, there'd be a giant shift towards a healthier world overall. What kind of art? That's enough of good things that I would do if I copied myself into the world. What kind of problems would grow big? Everybody would suddenly become a whole lot more ridiculous. The world would become a much more ridiculous place. Because I'm a pretty ridiculous person, the world would suddenly become a lot less restrained. We would get a lot less inhibited, and I'm not sure if that would be a good thing or a bad thing. I'm sure like a good large percentage of the world would suddenly start running around naked. We would definitely have a problem with too much flight of fancy and not enough real world stuff. Like a lot of people that do everyday normal stuff. Like I suck at just everyday normal like drudgery kind of like boring things. We'd have a lot of people that suddenly stop paying their bills because they wouldn't even be thinking about them. Bills, taxes, stuff like that. I'd be like, oh, that's a thing? Oh, I forgot I have to worry about it. So like all of the world would suddenly stop paying their credit card bills on time and taxes and stuff like that. So that would probably be a bit of a problem. We'd have a lot less mundane and a lot more fantastical stuff because of that. So I would say on the whole, the world would become a more ridiculous, healthier, slightly less responsible place. So I hope that answers your question. That's something I honestly never have thought about. If I put more thought into it for a little more time, I think I could maybe go into a little more depth, but I hope that was enough for your question for now. Have a nice week, Benny. Thank you. You have a nice week as well. So I hope that kind of cleared that. That's a weird question. I never really thought about that. That's a weird question. All right. So that's it for our questions on YouTube. We're going to go ahead and move on to our question for next week. Question for next week is, if you had a magic wand and you could wish yourself into any place in the world right now, in any situation, like you could just pick where you'd want to be, doing exactly what you would want to be doing right now. No consequences. You just, boom, you have it. Where would it be? What would you be doing? And just tell me a little bit about it. I would love to hear. And my wife is still commenting. Oh, wait, it's not my wife. She says, "Hi, hubby." And then she says, "It's not your wife." She says, "Now it's your wife. We love you." Okay, it's my wife and her friends. Hi. Hi, Jackie. Hi, Mel. So, that's the question for next week. Magic wand. You could be anywhere you want to be, doing anything you want to do. Where would you be, and what would you be doing? Let me know in the comments below. Ask me a question. Tune in Facebook Live next week if you want to ask a question there. I hope you enjoyed this week's installment of Q&A Tuesday. As always, remember, live boldly, change the world, and continue to be awesome. Bye-bye.